The Clippers have reportedly shown interest in a DeMar DeRozan trade. Does that make sense for a team that's already the oldest team in the league? We're going to talk a little bit about that. And Zach LaVine reportedly pushed for the Kings to make a trade for Trae Young in the offseason. Does that make any sense? And we're going to look at the players that could become first-time All-Stars this season. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. Reportedly, this one comes from Marc Stein, that the Los Angeles Clippers have shown an interest in trading for DeMar DeRozan. Now, this is interesting, right? The Clippers are already one of the oldest teams in the NBA, if not the oldest, and trading for DeMar DeRozan, that's already a player that is up there in age, no doubt about it, but still productive, because that makes sense as far as fitting their timeline. It doesn't really add any other bad long-term money to their books, if that's what you're looking at as well in this case. And that's what the Clippers have to look at this thing as, right? Is that trying to add players that make sense for your roster. You've lost Bradley Beal now for the entirety of the year, and even when he was there, he wasn't quite what I think even the most optimistic person really thought he could be. DeMar DeRozan, for what it's worth, has taken a step back as far as scoring. This is the first year of his career. If it keeps this way, other than his rookie season, he will not have averaged 20 points per game. Well, basically since 2013-14 season was the first time he averaged over 20 points per game, and he's averaged that every year since then until this year, where he's averaging 18 points. He's still shooting the ball 49% from the field. Surprisingly enough, 36% from three-point range as well, taking 2 of those per game. He's averaging 3 rebounds, 3 assists. It's been basically a DeMar DeRozan season, right? He has taken a bit of a step back as far as priority there. You know, he's taken 13 shots compared to the over 17 he's averaged for the last 5+ years or so. So, you know, he's taken a step back in that sense, but this is still a very highly productive player. He can definitely be a bucket getter in the half court when kind of the offense slows down, with his ability to either get to the free throw line or make tough shots, right? So that's something there. He's still taking about 5 free throws per game as well. So this is a player that, you know, in DeMar DeRozan kind of makes some sense there, right? He does make $25.7 million this season as well. Next season is $25.74 million. But only $10 million of that next season is guaranteed, right? So that's that. Now, it could trigger additional guarantees if he's named as an all-star in 2026 or the Kings win the NBA Finals, both things that don't look like likely to happen at all, right? And so with the Clippers struggling out the gate, they have several veterans that have injuries, with Kawhi Leonard, who returned on Sunday. Bradley Beal's out for the season, right? And so already hearing that the Kings are interested in moving some of their veterans, or all of their veterans, right, and triggering a full rebuild, DeMar DeRozan would be one of those players that could be gettable. Now, the question becomes about, do the Clippers want to match that money? Is that an easy salary for them to match and try to get him in there? And that's the thing that could be a little bit more difficult, right? You hear a lot of players that can make sense for teams, but the question then becomes about, how do you get them there, right? And when you're looking at the Clippers books, for example, they have Zubac at 18. They're not going to want to give up Zubac. John Collins at 26. Could they be interested in giving up John Collins? I don't know, right? It's not that he's been terrible for them either, so they may not want to give that. Again, completely different positions, but maybe they would be interested in giving up a John Collins if it gets them a DeMar DeRozan that, again, much older player, more so fits their timeline, I guess, right? But, you know, even then, like, John Collins is averaging 11 points per game for them. He started in 8 of those games. Do they value that over what DeMar DeRozan could bring? Again, the steady vet in there, right? So you have, those contracts that could get you there as well. Bogdanovich is $16 million, so it gets you a large part of the way there, with Brook Lopez as well. The questions about that becomes, are those expiring deals worth it for it? Now, both those players do have team options, so the Kings could get Brook Lopez, who is old and kind of washed. They could get Bogdanovich as well at $16 million, this season. And then they could, just not pick up their options next year. So no harm, no foul there. It'll then be about whatever additional compensation the Clippers give there. So there's a route that the Clippers can get that done in. The question just is that what the Kings would be interested in. When you look at the Clippers draft picks as well, when it all comes down to it, they do have a movable draft pick that they have. They have their picks going out to OKC potentially this year and next year as well. So they have those that they can't move. I don't think they can move a pick outright until 2031. They can offer some pick swaps in there that they could do if that's the case. So we'll see what happens there. It's not like DeMar DeRozan is going to command a lot on the trade market anyway. So, we'll see what happens there. But let me know what you guys think on the Clippers potentially targeting DeMar DeRozan to bring to their team. Again, DeMar from LA could want to finish out his career there. He was hopeful to sign to one of the LA teams before he signed with the Chicago Bulls. That ultimately did not work out for him. So now they're looking at some other things there. All right, moving on. Staying with the Sacramento Kings, though, Zach LaVine's camp apparently pushed the Kings to try to make a trade for Trae Young this offseason. This one also comes from Marc Stein and says that LaVine's camp tried to spark interest in a deal that would have sent him to Atlanta and brought Young to Sacramento. A former general manager, Monte McClare, even explored the idea inside the front office, including early discussions about potential trade structures that involved De'Aaron Fox. Those conversations never advanced. Instead, the transition to new general manager Scott Perry ended any remaining possibility. So there you go on that one. It did say that Perry has made it clear that the Kings will not pursue Young, LaMelo Ball, or Ja Morant, and that Sacramento's new leadership wants a defensive toughness at the point of attack. None of the available star guards fit that profile, and Trae Young remains one of the league's premier offensive engines. So that's for Marc Stein in regards to the potential of a Trae Young to Sacramento thing, right? Now, I do think with what the Atlanta Hawks have been able to do without Trae Young this year, I do think when you talk about that trio of guards that we heard trade rumors from, Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, and Trae Young, I think that Trae Young is the most likely to be moved, mainly because it's clear that Jalen Johnson is probably the Atlanta Hawks' best player now going forward. And so thus, because of that, it could lead them to look at what they can get for Trae Young back that can help solidify that young core. And on top of that, we already heard this offseason that the Hawks were evaluating Trae Young's fit long-term with this young core, and they wanted to see how he fit with them before they gave him a contract extension, which has led us to the point that we're at now. And I do think the Atlanta Hawks have to strike soon if they want to get any type of value back for Trae Young. They may have to do it as soon as this trade deadline if they want to do that. And so it puts a kind of expedites that question in that process that they have to go through to determine what they're going to do with their roster. He does have a player option next year. And while I don't see him necessarily opting out of that $48 million player option, he very well could. And thus it could lead the Hawks to have to make that decision right now on what they want to do with Trae Young. Now, the Kings are off the table apparently, but if the Hawks truly had a bidding war for Trae Young, there are going to be a number of teams that would be interested in Trae Young. What are you going to get back for it? We'll see what happens in that one, right? But overall, I would expect that Trae Young, with the way things are moving here in Atlanta, I kind of expect Trae Young to be moved. That's just my speculation. It's not reporting, but I want to hear from you guys on this one down below. What do you think of the prospects of Trae Young being moved this season? Let me know that down below. With that said, I want to end this show on 4 players that I believe that could become first-time All-Stars as soon as this year. And the number one that we're going to go to is Jalen Duren with the Detroit Pistons. Let me be clear here. Jalen Duren is having one of the biggest leaps that we've seen in the entire Eastern Conference this season, right? If you just look at it from a scoring perspective alone, Jalen Duren went from 11.8 points per game to 20.6 points per game this season. That's a 9-point jump alone right there. But then when you look at how he's scoring, he's doing it more off the dribble. He's attacking bigs betterly. He's getting to the rim more easy than we ever seen before. But then on top of that, he's also drawing fouls and going to the free throw line. He averages 7.3 free throws per game as a big. Jalen Duren is doing all this while dominating the glass on top of that. He's 4th in rebounds per game in the entire NBA. He has a 22-point, 22-rebound game as well, and then followed it up with games of 11, 16, 14, and 15 rebounds. Jalen Duren is hitting a great stretch here, and for a big that had some questions on what his defensive motor was going to be after the first couple years there, to see him hit this stride offensively and defensively this year has been amazing to see from Jalen Duren, and especially in the Eastern Conference, I think that he could be a all-star as soon as this year. The next player I want to talk about, we're going to stay with the bigs, is Chet Holmgren. Listen, when he was drafted, people expected him to get to this point, right? I want to be clear here. But when you look at what he's doing this season, with Jalen Williams out this season, he has absolutely taken his aggression level on the offensive side of the ball to a huge new leap. He's averaging 19.3 points per game, up from 15 last season, which he did last year. He's shooting 69% from 2-point range as well. And when you look at the offense, he's just such a well-rounded player. But then defensively, the Thunder's defensive rating is 99.8 when Holmgren is on the floor. That is why the OKC Thunder are having the type of start to the season that they are, because of players like Chet Holmgren making the leap that he's making, and he can absolutely be an all-star just as soon as this year. Again, it's a little bit different for Chet, especially with where he was drafted, how he's viewed around the league, those type of things. But it's good to see him finally putting all this together in a season where they needed somebody to step up with J-Dub out. And it's been great to see him really step into that role in a great way. And, he's still doing it with the double bigs. Isaiah Hartenstein's still averaging 12 and 10 as well. The chemistry's still there. And, Chet and the OKC Thunder off to a great start. And Chet is a big part of that. Next up, I do want to talk about Austin Reaves. Now, I know some people get triggered when you bring up Los Angeles Lakers players here, but when you look at the start of the 2025-6 season with Austin Reaves, with LeBron being out, playing as the second to Luka Doncic, then Luka went down for a little while, and he stepped up. He's averaging 28 points per game. He's averaging a career high in assists, dropping 7.6 per game as well. He's had a 51-point game this season, a 41-point game the day after that. He has now proven himself to be a legit second option with Luka Doncic. There's no doubt about that. And when you look at the scoring jump as well, he's finishing around the rim at 71.1%, which is crazy right now. He's shooting 60% in the non-restricted area of the paint as well. This dude is making a leap in every statistical category, and Austin Reaves definitely deserves to be mentioned in this class. And then lastly, the last player I want to bring up is Jalen Johnson. I just talked about his Atlanta Hawks. He is the best player on the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't think it's close. He's averaging 22.8 points per game. He's shooting 50-40-81, not 50-40-90, but 50-40-81, all career highs when it comes down to that as well. And the reason that the Atlanta Hawks have been able to thrive with Trae Young off the court is because of Jalen Johnson. Other players as well. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has stepped up. Those type of things, you're getting good contributions from those. Of course, the defense still from Dyson Daniels, but he has stepped up. But he's also stepped up playmaking-wise, which really makes it, to me, be why the Hawks can move on from Trae Young. 6.6 assists per game, up from 5 last game. It's another career high for him. He has been great for this Atlanta Hawks team, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you guys think could become first-time All-Stars this year? Let me know that down below. But DeMar DeRozan, is he headed to L.A.? LaVine's camp is wilding, considering that they don't even want LaVine's ass there. And then, we'll see who becomes the next crop of All-Stars as well. Make sure you guys always drop your thoughts down below. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe as well. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything hoops related. And like I like to end everything on, just stay locked in. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.